Greetings ladies and gentlefish, and in this video we're just going to briefly talk about personal missions. So for those of you who don't know, perhaps you've been living under a rock for the last few months, or you took some time out from the game, or you're really new and shiny to it, there is a missions tab over here on the top left of your garage above your crew for your particular vehicle. Select that. You have a couple of different mission types to choose from. If you select the campaign option over here on the left hand side, then you can see we are currently on campaign 1, the long awaited backup. This campaign consists of 4 stages essentially. If we just go to campaign rewards, you can see the sort of rewards that you get. The rewards you get are commendations, which allow you to acquire these special vehicles, and female crew members who are badass. Let's be honest. Okay, so how does this work? Let's select the first campaign mission. So the way this works, there are 4 sets of 4 categories within this campaign, and you have to do them in order. Each of them has a progressively better and better reward. Starting off with the Stug 4, which is a tier 5 gift tank, then the T28 concept, T55A, and then the Object 260. So how do you get hold of these? Well, if we just have a look at some of the missions, you can see that there are blocks of missions for every tank type in the game. 5 tank types, 5 sets of missions, 5 blocks of missions. So let's take, for example, the light tank missions. What you do is you complete each of these missions in order. Once you have completed Heavy Tank Mission 15, you receive 4 commendations, 1 bunk in your barracks, and 1 female crew member. Now what is all this about? Well, female crew members are, in my opinion, probably actually the best thing you get from doing these personal missions. They are, well, as the name suggests, female crew members. I mean, they are crew members and they are women. If we go, for example, to have a look at some, here are some examples of some female crew members. So what you get with these, they come with Sisterhood of Steel, which is the same as Brothers in Arms, but importantly, it is not compatible with Brothers in Arms. Basically, it's designed so that you have single gender crews. So you get Sisterhood of Steel. You then get enough experience to buy a completed next skill. And this counts. This Sisterhood of Steel counts as does not count as one of your skills, which sounds odd, but it's important, as I'll get to in a moment. You get enough XP to buy 1 complete skill, and then of course you can start training the next skill for that crew member. Now, you may or may not be aware that when you have crew members and you train particular skill on them, the XP required to get the next skill is exponential, essentially, i.e. The second skill, for example, on your crew member takes more experience to max out than the first skill. The third skill takes more than the second, the fourth more than the third, and so on and so forth. Because this Sisterhood of Steel doesn't count as one of these skills, if you will, it means that while, for example, for Master Sergeant Irene Miller here, repairs is actually her 3rd skill, but in terms of the amount of experience required to max this skill out, it is counted as her 2nd skill. 6th Sense here, you had enough she came with enough experience to buy this skill, it counted as her 1st skill. So basically, the female crew members come with skills and take much less experience to unlock successive skills, i.e. they are, in short, frigging awesome. But you want to really have complete crews of them. You don't want to mix and match the gender of these crew members. So, for completing number 15 mission on a particular set, so for example Light Tank 15, you get that female crew member, you get a bunk in your barracks to house her. When you select her, you have to choose a vehicle for her to be trained to when you get her. Now, this must be a vehicle that you have unlocked, but it does not have to be a vehicle that you have purchased. You also get 4 commendations. in order to acquire the special tanks that I mentioned earlier on, the Stug 4, the T-28, whatever, you have to have 20 of these commendations. So you can see that if you complete number 15 mission for each of the 5 tank types, you will get 20 commendations, allowing you to acquire the special vehicle. However, each of the missions also has a set of conditions, primary conditions and secondary conditions. If you complete number 15 mission with the secondary conditions as well, you get an additional reward, which includes 1 more commendation. That means that if you complete 4 of these sets, so for example, light tank, medium tank, tank destroyer and SPG, if you didn't like playing heavy tanks for example, then you would be able to acquire the gift tank, the Stug 4 for instance, completely bypassing 1 vehicle type. Now this is perhaps most relevant to people who don't like playing artillery. There's a lot of people who don't like playing artillery. However, if you do complete all of the tank type missions, you will have 5 crew members. If you only complete 4 of them, even with secondary conditions, you'll only have 4 female crew members. So I do recommend completing them for each tank type if you can. So that's the sort of reward that you get. In each set, there's a couple of missions that require you to be platooned. For example, join a battle as part of a platoon of light tanks. You have to do the missions in order, but that restriction is dropped once you are past the Stug missions, so once you're on to the subsequent ones. And as you go along, you can see you get pretty nice rewards for completing these, you know, cash, more cash, lots of cash. Sometimes you get premium consumables like here, large repair kit, first aid kit, automatic fire extinguisher, etc, etc. So that's the deal with the personal missions. There's been a little bit of controversy about some of these because some of the requirements can be a little bit silly. But to kind of discuss that, I'll just show you a game and then talk a little bit about some of those slightly more controversial aspects of the whole thing, I guess. So here's a little gameplay to just kind of demonstrate some of the things I'm talking about. Just to give you an idea of the mission, so I'm in the Lorraine 155-51, the French Tier 8 artillery piece. And the mission that I am trying to do is cause at least 500 HP of damage to enemy vehicles, remain unspotted during the battle, and the secondary is destroy an enemy vehicle. It's that remain unspotted during the battle thing that's going to be a little bit of a blighter. Now I do not have 6th Sense on this crew at the time when I played this game. Now on the surface of it, that mission doesn't sound too unreasonable. You know, you're artillery. Generally speaking, you're at the back, and you're probably not going to get spotted, assuming everything goes according to plan. But this is the sort of mission that you can abuse. Cause at least 500 HP of damage to enemy vehicles and remain unspotted. So what you could do is jump into your high tier artillery, land 1 shot to net you your 500 damage, and then go and drown yourself in the nearest lake. You would not have been spotted all game, and you would have done your requisite damage. Hey, if you're very lucky, you may even have destroyed an enemy vehicle, but the point is you would have done what was necessary to complete the mission. So this is an example of a terribly, terribly, terribly thought out mission. And now, hopefully it's going to go without saying that I am not going to do. I like to think I have a modicum of standards, and I have absolutely no intention of driving myself into the nearest body of water and suiciding, or once I have dealt 500 damage. Screw that. But we are going to see a situation that I get into where completing the mission and having the best chance of winning the game are mutually exclusive. And this is the sort of thing... There we go, there's my 500 damage, just for the record. So if I wanted to guarantee completing this mission, I would go up, find a wall, and unload my own HE shells into it until I killed myself. That'd be the easiest way of doing it and guaranteeing that I wasn't spotted. If I was just playing this for the mission, that is what I would do. But I'm not a scumbag, so I'm not going to do that. Anyway, as I was saying, we are, however, going to get to a point in this game where the mission and the best way of winning the game are mutually exclusive. And it means that a little bit of me is thinking, Well, these missions have been really poorly thought out, because there are loads of situations where the objectives of the mission and the objective win the bleeding game are not compatible. And this is something that you see crop up. Hello, Mr. ST1. I missed. This is something that you see crop up on certainly the EU forums quite a lot, especially when the personal missions came in. People were commenting on the fact that a lot of players were playing like complete pant-wetting morons. Just because there was a mission that told them they had to spot 2 enemy tanks before they were spotted, or some such utter gumph. And so this is where I get to kind of my first point on these. In my opinion, you do not want... missed. The first chunk of this game is basically RNG bending me over a table and giggling. Anyway. Don't play... these personal missions. Don't just jump into games with the specific aim of completing the personal missions. You will just frustrate yourself. I mean, even if for no other reason other than often the description that's given in-game about the personal mission is incorrect. Certainly in the EU, on the EU servers, some of the English translations of the personal missions is just complete bunkum. And so not only do you have descriptions that are potentially incorrect, but the descriptions that you get in different languages don't even match with each other. They're not even internally consistent. And so if you're actually trying to, complete these things by grinding the missions out, essentially, well, you're going to have a hell of a time trying to do it. And so I don't recommend doing it. Also, ignoring the fact that if you do try and do it, often gameplay suffers as a result. There we go. Another shot that didn't hit. Welcome to the world of playing artillery. There we go. Anyway, now, I decided to relocate here. Because I think, I don't want to be counter-batteried, and I think the position I was in was a little bit dubious. There's an M41 Walker Bulldog the other side of that little hillock where our 87 is. Or he was the other side of that. So bear that in mind, and bear in mind that I don't have sixth sense. Anyway, so we had a lot of these discussions on the EU forums about, God, these missions are making gameplay go down the toilet, and so I think that there was an element of truth to that, and certainly Wargaming have said that while they think the personal missions have been a resounding success, there is work that needs to be done to them. For example, some of the personal missions are just stupid. Like the ones that actively encourage you to do something and then drive into a lake and drown yourself. I think there are plans to change the medium tank incinerator missions where you have to set enemy tanks on fire, because it's basically just an RNG fueled bout of frustration. So yeah, they've been a success, but they're not perfect. Goodbye, Mr. IS-8. And now my shots finally start hitting, which is nice. So, just for the record, I have destroyed an enemy vehicle and done 500 hit points of damage. All I have to do is remain unspotted. And there's that M41 Walker Bulldog. He died, but at this point, I was not sure if he would have had a line of sight to me in order to spot me. So I might have been spotted, I might not, I don't know. I didn't think I had, so I think the mission is still doable, but I didn't know for sure. M103 is now missing another 500 health. And I'm trying to relocate after every shot. They do still have an artillery player left, in the form of that GW Panther. So, yeah, these discussions were going on, and someone made a very good point. He said, you can't legislate against stupidity. And at the time when I read his comment, I thought, well, what's he talking about? Of course you can, I don't really get what he means. But I thought about this later. Bye-bye, M103. I thought about this later, and I think he's right. If Wargaming wanted to introduce some sort of mission, or, even vaguely similar to the sort of things they've done, regardless of what the criteria to complete those missions are, someone, somewhere, will be idiotic enough to do the wrong thing at the wrong time because of the mission. Even if the mission was something as basic as do X amount of damage, I can guarantee you there will be someone somewhere who will decide that they are going to just do damage. They are not going to engage their brain at any point. They're not going to go and decap the cap circle if that is needed. They're not going to cap themselves if that's needed. They're just going to try and keep doing damage. That's all they're going to do. That's all they're interested in doing, because that's what the mission says. And I've noticed this attitude with a couple of relatively well-known streamers as well. One in particular, but I'm not going to name any names. And it's more awkward. So if you have unlocked every tank in the game, then you don't have that grind anymore. So I can see why you might have an incentive to just focus on completing these bleeding personal missions, but a lot of the time it's done at the expense of your win chance, which to my mind should always be your priority. This is a team game after all. I think in a game you should attempt to do your best to win. It's not just your experience that matters, it's other people's as well. And they're playing the game to win. So yeah, but anyway, that's the point that the guy made, and I think he has a fair point. So I think we have to be a little bit give Wargaming a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, because it doesn't matter what missions they decided to introduce. Someone somewhere would abuse it because that's what people are like, and someone somewhere would complain about it because that's what people are like. Having said all that, there are some missions, like the one I'm currently doing in this game, that are just silly. What are you going to do? Now, I can't... this KV-4 hasn't been respotted. Oh, sorry, it's an IS-3, not the KV-4. There's the IS-3, and I'm trying to swing the gun round to get a shot on him, but of course it's artillery, so I still have to aim for ages. Take the shot. Nowhere near. Now, one of the nice things about the French artillery is that they are fast. This thing is based on the chassis of the Lorraine 40-ton medium tank. This thing will happily do 50, 60 kilometers an hour. And so, why not use that? I mean, I've talked about the Lorraine in previous videos. And how, certainly with a lot of the French artillery, the best thing about them is their mobility. The fact that you can be somewhere where someone doesn't expect you to be, and thus you can get shots on someone where they think they are artillery safe. At which point, of course, they start complaining and moaning about hackers and all the rest of that. Whereas actually it just means that you had the brain power to press the W key, start up the engine, and move somewhere that was more than 3 feet away from your spawn point. As you can see me doing at the moment. Anyway, there's the GW Panther. This shot is going to be very important. GW Panther is the enemy's last remaining artillery piece. I let the reticule aim in, and I take the shot blind. Now, you can tell I didn't kill him. It turns out that shot, while it wasn't a direct hit, it took off most of his health, but crucially, not all of it. That's going to come back to bite us on the backside. If you've noticed the battle timer, you'll see there's 3.5 minutes of this game left, and it's Swamp. And what is Swamp famous for? Anyway, enough foreshadowing. Jagdtiger 88 gets taken out by our Pershing. So that just leaves a KV-4 T-20 GW Panther. There's the KV-4. We know where their artillery was spotted. That means that T-20 is the guy currently sitting on our base. Decision time. If I was spotted earlier on, I can no longer complete this mission. I don't think I was. The only chance I have of completing this mission is to remain unspotted. Winning is not a condition. So, if I'm prioritizing the mission, then I just sit here and lob shells back at our base from a safe distance. That is an option. That's not a very good way of resetting the base, and I would just like to put it into context. It turns out, so we have an ST-1 who is slow, and it turns out we have a Pershing with a damaged engine. I am the fastest tank left on our team. I am the one who is in the best position and most able to reset our cap counter. Lobbing shells randomly at our base every 30 seconds is not the best way to reset our cap circle. The best way to do that is to drive up to this guy and shotgun him in the face. And so you get the Pershing there says his engine is damaged. You have the mission criteria and winning the damn game suddenly being mutually exclusive. Neither of the other two guys are going to get back to the base in time to reset. ST1 not only is slow, he has a dead driver. Pershing, I've already mentioned, he has a dead engine. So basically it's up to me to reset the base, and screw this, I will take the shot from him. He will take something like 8 seconds or more to reload, and shotgun him in the face at point blank range. That's how you reset a base in artillery, by the way. Now, my team was quite happy that I did that, as you can see in chat. Now, as you can also see, I typed screw the mission because I now have absolutely no chance of completing it. I got spotted and I needed to remain unspotted. But you know what? I don't care, because I'm here to win me the game. He can spot me all he damn well likes. Now, remember that GW Panther from earlier on, who I failed to kill, but took off, as it turns out in the end, most of the health of? Yeah, he's still alive. I am the fastest thing left on our team. I even carry binocular telescopes on artillery because every once in a while you have to play the role of scout. Now, I hadn't actually noticed the timer, the game timer, at this point. So I'm saying still be careful, you know, we can't rush into this. I didn't realise there was less than 1 minute 30 seconds left. I'm going to realise in a second. It will become obvious. It will become very, very obvious. But at the moment, and E75 says draw, and I'm thinking, what? What? Oh, balls, the cap counter's running out. Right, I, as a player, despise draws. Pardon the bad language. I despise draws. I cannot stand them. Draws can go and die in a fire. Because no one wins. Literally nobody. So screw this. I can do 50, 60 kilometers an hour. The problem is, have I left it too late? As mentioned before, ST1 has a dead driver, Pershing has a dead engine. It's up to me, basically, to drive up to this GW Panther and
30 seconds left.
eject a high explosive love package into his face. So I'm going for it. You know, I've got nothing to lose. Last saw him over here, so I'm heading for his last known position. 15 seconds left. 10. 5, 4.
3, 2, 1.
Game over. Alas, despite one's best efforts, and despite me giving up the mission in order to keep the game alive, it wasn't quite enough to get the win. Which was frustrating. But I stand by my point. In my opinion, the priority is winning. Do everything in your power to win. Your missions come as secondary. Think of them more as achievements rather than missions. They're not missions for you to specifically to go out and try to complete. They're rewards for doing cool stuff, for doing unusual things, for doing a lot of damage, for whatever. They are rewards. They're achievements rather than missions per se. That's how I think of them anyway. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. There will be videos in the future dealing with specific tank type missions and how to complete them and all that jazz. This was just a generic introduction to the whole thing. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel. And I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao, ciao.